College football is back. We'll see if that's a good thing or not for Texas fans in just a few days. Is Shohei Ohtani making a case for American League MVP, or has Aaron Judge slammed the gavel? It's a new season of College Crossfire coming your way right now.
What are those?
He's coming back for that 2021 MVP. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than Baker Mayfield. He's not better than Mahomes. I can't say that.
Well, Justin Tucker. Give him his 99 rating in Madden.
Ceiling is the roof. There is no roof, so they have a pretty high ceiling.
SAT or the ACT. let's really see how.
That's enough talk. Let's talk.
We're back, unlike Texas football, in the TSTV studios for another year of College Crossfire. Hello, folks. My name is Tommy Yarrish, and I'm your host, taking over for the legendary Drew Jacob. I have to start and say, I got big shoes to fill. Hopefully, I'll do a good job this year, trying to do half as good a job as he did. But I'm not important whatsoever, so let's introduce you to the people who are. Starting off on first base, it's Ryan Swantkowski. Ryan, how's it going, man?
Hi, I'm happy to be here. First show of the year. Super excited. First time on the show. And yeah, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come here.
Absolutely, man. We're happy to have you here. And on second base, my fellow Inside Texas co-worker, it's Harrison Chiu. Harrison, what's up, man?
How's it going, Tommy? I'm super pumped to be here. Like Ryan said, first show of the year. Can't wait to get after it.
Awesome. And then rounding us out, last but not least, for the first time making his on-air debut, Manny Ramirez. Manny, it's great to have you.
It's great to be here, man. Like you said, first show ever of the career. It's a good time. Looking to talk some ball.
Let's go.
All right, let's get to talking ball. Really excited to have the three of you guys here tonight. So we're going to start off with our first question. Texas football is 3 days away from the commencement of the Steve Sarkisian era, year number 2. And in the offseason, he and his staff were faced with another difficult quarterback decision to make. Ultimately, Sarkisian announced that Ohio State transfer and true freshman Quinn Ewers beat out last year's initial starter, Hudson Card, even with Card having a year of experience in the system under his belt, whereas Ewers had essentially no meaningful snaps last season for the Buckeyes. My question for you panelists is, did Sarkisian make the right choice? We'll start on first base with Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely, Tommy. I think Sarkisian 100% made the right choice here. I think there's two ways to look at this. You can go with Card. You kind of know what you're getting. It's not a wild card. I get the last time I get the pun. It's super funny. But it's no wild card. You know what you're getting with them. You saw him last year in a few games. Yes, Casey Thompson came in a little bit and it kind of maybe messed up his rhythm, but you kind of know what you're getting. He kind of scrambles around a little bit, gets a little flustered. With Quinn, he's the fan favorite. Transferring over from Ohio State, 5-star quarterback. I mean, you don't know what you're getting out of him, and I think that's what we want, and we're also building not just for this year, but we're also looking for next year. And so if you get Quinn these 12 games, hopefully more than that, you make a bowl game, make a playoff run, whatever you want to do, you're already getting that experience for him, and you're looking at next season. So I think for those reasons, I think Quinn is the right move.
So you want the young guy first who has no experience in the program? All right, well, Quinn does give you a little bit more looks downfield offensively. He has a little bit better of an arm, whereas Hudson really likes the over-the-middle stuff, keeps it short and moving downfield gradually, whereas Sarkisian, who has said in the offseason, likes the deep ball a little bit more. Harrison, your thoughts?
Yeah, Tommy, I mean, like you said in your question, there's a reason why Coach Sark has Quinn Ewers as our starter, who has not had an experience, while Hudson Card had a year in his system. There's a reason why Quinn, who was a perfect rating in a 24/7 composite. There's only 3 quarterbacks ever to be ranked 1,000, and that's Quinn Ewers. He has every arm. He has every arm angle. He can make every throw. He's the perfect quarterback in Sark's system. He's the one that takes the lid off the offense to use our speedsters on the outside, like Brendan Thompson, like Xavier Worthy, and obviously Quinn has the calmness and the poise, and he can stay in the pocket and not be frantic, just how we saw Hudson Card in the Arkansas game. And honestly, I think the Arkansas game has stuck in the mind of Coach Sark and the fans, and that's just a small reason why I think why Sark made the right call.
Well, we're going to see how Quinn looks this year when Alabama comes into town week 2, similarly to last year when Texas went on the road in Arkansas and things didn't really go too well for Hudson Card in his first start. Manny, let's round it out.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to go that he made the right choice. You know, the one thing that you hear about Coach Sark talk about all the time is culture. He's building a culture. He's building, you know, this. He said that this culture is going to come from the ground up, and I think you got to go with somebody who has only known his culture, and that's Quinn. You know, I think like I said, he has the intangibles, yes, but I think this goes further. I think this goes deeper than just being, somebody who can throw the deep ball better than the other person. I think this is what it takes to be a leader, in this culture. It's one of those things where it's a new time, it's a new change. Like you said, the Sark era is coming, into fruition, and I think that Quinn is going to be the perfect guy to be able to round that out for him.
All right, so 3 good answers. Going to give it to Harrison here on this first go-around. Loved your point on the composite. Quinn is one of 3 quarterbacks to ever get a perfect composite rating, and he's joining elite company and hopefully soon to be elite company, Vince Young and Arch Manning, the other 2 quarterbacks to finish with a perfect rating on 247's composite. Moving on to our second question, this year's season opener, vastly different from last year's. Billy Napier's Louisiana Raging Cajuns came into Austin a top 25 ranked team in week 1, with the Longhorns only being an 8.5-point favorite. But this year, the Warhawks from Louisiana Monroe come into town as 38-point underdogs. Panelists, with so many question marks surrounding this Texas team, what kind of performance are you expecting from the Longhorns come Saturday night? Harrison, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I expect dominance. I expect speed and overpowering dominance. We have a young O-line, but we have a big O-line. They're hungry. We have Jaleel Billingsley and JT Sanders at tight end, giving us a little more athleticism, more strength and speed. We also have Byron Murphy, going in with Keandre Coburn and filling out our defensive line with Moro Ajomo and with other guys like Ovia Gofu. And let's talk about our linebacking core. We have DeMarvion Overshone, Jalen Ford, Tucker Dorsey, arguably the best linebacking group in the Big 12. I expect Coach Sark and Coach PK to come out firing with aggression, and while on offense we'll attack with the run game, then it opens up with our play action with Quinn, and on defense I expect swarming the quarterback and flying out in the backfield.
Certainly going to be a very aggressive approach here in game number 1, especially on offense. The decision to name Quinn the starter allows them to do that a little bit more. And then defensively, Pete Kwiatkowski has talked about all offseason how they're trying to switch to more tighter coverage in the secondary. We'll see how that starts out in week 1. Manny, what are your thoughts?
Just like my friend here, I expect complete dominance. I think this has to be a complete game on all sides of the ball, not just offense and defense, but it's got to be a complete game when you come down to the special teams as well. I expect this to be a light show. I expect this to be a great time in Austin. DKR is going to be rocking, and I think that if this is not something like Rice from last season, then this season will be filled with question marks, and it's going to continue to be that way. But if we can establish who we are from the get-go and play a whole game of football, then I think the Longhorns go far. But when it comes to this game, it's got to be complete dominance.
Certainly coming off a 5-7 season, you want some sort of dominance against a much, for lack of a better term, inferior opponent to start the year off. Ryan, let's round it out.
Yeah, as my 2 friends here said, they're expecting dominance. I'm honestly not expecting too much dominance. ULM last year, I'm not saying they were very good. They gave up 33 points per game. That's a lot of points. So I'm expecting kind of a slow start. I expect, to knock the rust off. That's how I feel like this game's going to go. I think we're going to win, by a good amount. I don't think 37 points amount, but I think, 20-24 will be a solid win. I think we're going to start off a little slow with Bijan kind of getting more of the carries, Roshan if he's back and healthy, to get more of the carries, to kind of ease Quinn back into the system or get him really going in his first career start. And then I think as we kind of gradually gain the lead, we start to open Quinn up and get ready, for Alabama, potentially. Hopefully we'll see how that goes, but I think that's kind of how it's going to go. We're going to start off conservative and then let Quinn kind of get going and get some confidence.
Sarkisian has mentioned in press conferences heading up to the season that a big part of this game plan has been playing around Quinn Ewers' strengths and making sure that he's comfortable in his first start, because obviously start number 2 for Ewers is not going to be the easiest of starts when the Crimson Tide from Tuscaloosa come rolling into town. Ryan, I love that answer going into Quinn, making Quinn comfortable, so you'll get the point here in this round. Last question here in our first round of 3. You guys are doing great so far. Let's talk some Texas volleyball. It didn't take long for the Longhorns to jump back into the number 1 spot in the top 25 after starting the year off at number 2, and it was thanks to a 2-game sweep of the number 7 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes to open the season. After seeing the Longhorns win a combined 6 sets to the Buckeyes 1, what did we learn about this team and what can be expected moving forward? Manny, you'll get us going here to start.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we can expect from this team moving forward is just that, in my opinion, that they keep this level of play up. It's not easy to go play on the road, and especially when it was a packed house like that. If you watch the highlights of it, man, it was enemy territory, absolutely. But they locked in with each other real heavily, and they were able to play off of each other. And I think that's the one thing that's really important when you go play on the road. So that was definitely a statement game for them. And I think that what we were able to see is that this team is the real deal. And I think that when you get into the postseason, I think this is a real good squad to be able to have that championship opportunity.
Always difficult to go into Columbus and play any team at Ohio State. Longhorns fared pretty well up there this past week. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, so looking back at the highlights and looking at the game overall, I mean, going into number 7 Ohio State, like you just said, I mean, to start off the season, that's just a crazy environment to go play in. Super scary, but I mean, they did what they needed to do. They won both games, both days. I mean, and a big thing going back to last season when they went 27-2, they didn't get the job done, but they went 27-2, which is an outstanding season. And you see resemblances of that already this season. I looked at some of the stats and stuff, and a big point of emphasis last year was attack errors, and their opponents had so many more attack errors than UT did themselves. And so UT had 30 those first 2 games, and then Ohio State had 45, and that's a pretty big margin. So I think that's a big key to success for them, and if they keep building off of that, I could see the same amount of success that they had last year translating to this year. So another good season inbound.
Certainly want to end on a better note than they did last year after coming up short for a national championship once again. Harrison, close it out for us.
Yeah, like you said, Tommy, they came up short. They lost in the regionals to Nebraska last year. Coach Elliott, Logan Eggleston, Asia O'Neal, these girls are hungry. They're motivated. They want to win. Greg Gym is easy for them. Okay, that's their home floor. That's their home base. But they just went to Columbus in the home opener in a packed house, and they won 2 games in a row against a top 10 team. This team is hungry. They're going to rely on their offense. They're going to rely on their height and their veteran leadership. And I expect Coach Elliott to lead the team to a much better performance and hopefully deep in the postseason.
Longhorns taking on Minnesota as we speak, the number 5 ranked team in the nation. Audience, any score update for us on that Minnesota game?
Maybe up 2 sets?
No? Okay, our audience has no idea. That's all right. We'll try and check back in you with there later. For this one, I'm going to give the point to Ryan again. I love the stats that you gave there with the attacking errors against Ohio State. Longhorns trying to get off on a much better start and finish with a better season this year. 3 questions in. It's Ryan in first place with 2 points. Harrison right behind him with 1. And in last with 0, Manny. Still a long way to go, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back into College Crossfire. Before we get started, audience.
Boo! Boo!
Thank you. Thank you.
Give Manny a point.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And our contestants getting in on it a little bit. We asked them to boo because here in College Crossfire, we believe that booing builds character, and we want to be all high character individuals. Let's get back to the action now. Quick score update here. Ryan, 2 points in first place. Harrison right behind him with 1. Manny still waiting to get on the board. We got plenty of time left. It's the second round of questions starting now, and we're going to talk some more college football. Folks, it really is just the best time of the year. Week 1 is full of great games across the country, and we all deserve it after having to watch the meltdown that was Nebraska football last week in Ireland of all places. Contestants, with our first full slate of the season around the corner, which Week 1 game piques your interest the most? This time, we'll start with Manny on the end.
So first game, I got to go USC Rice. It's in California. It's at USC. This is the first game of the Lincoln Riley era. I think that if this isn't a game that is shown with complete dominance by USC, then I think that their whole season ends up becoming filled with question marks. If this isn't something where USC wins by at least 14, I'm expecting a lot more, but at least 14, then I think there's some serious problems going on, and I think that becomes a big question, and then things start getting thrown out, like, is he really our guy? Lincoln Riley's supposed to bring USC back to the glory days, back to the college football playoff, and help them win or compete for a national championship. And so I'm gonna go USC Rice in California, big time game. It's got to be just dominance by USC. If not, then I think we got a lot of questions moving forward.
All right, first game for Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams out in Los Angeles for USC. We saw how Texas fared against Rice last year. We'll see if the Trojans can pull off a similar game. Ryan, how about you?
I think the common answer, and maybe my other friend here, Harrison, has this answer, but I think the common answer would be Ohio State versus Notre Dame. I'm actually going to pivot and go with Georgia versus Oregon, 3 versus 11. Big debut for the new head coach for Oregon, Dan Lanning, I believe. Dan Lanning.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, he was the former DC at Georgia, so now going against his former team, first game back. Question mark at quarterback, they haven't announced it yet. Maybe it's Bo Nix, maybe it's somebody else, I'm not quite sure. They lose Kayvon Thibodeau, best defensive player to the draft. And then you look at Georgia's side, and they had 8 defensive players get drafted in the NFL draft this year, which is just mind-boggling. Stetson Bennett going into his sixth season, number 3 to number 11. I mean, I love the matchup. I love how that head coach going against former team. That's what I've got to watch this weekend for sure. That's
certainly going to be a good one. We'll see how the reigning national champions start their season off against Oregon, who pulled off a big upset last year against Ohio State. We all remember that one early on in the season as well. We'll see if Dan Lanning can pull one off this year again to start the season. Harrison, close us out.
Yeah, I definitely like these answers. I think, obviously, the Notre Dame-Ohio State game is huge. It seems like every year Notre Dame's playoff implications comes down to an early game like this, 5v3. But I'm going to go with this game, the Arkansas Razorbacks and the Cincinnati Wildcats. This game has so many implications for so many reasons. You know, Cincinnati, they made the playoff last year, marking as the first group of 5 team to make the college football playoff. Arkansas, you know, they beat Texas last year. They had a great season in the SEC West with Sam Pittman, KJ Jefferson. But this game here seems like a must-win for both teams. You know, Cincinnati wants to prove to people that they do belong in the Big 12 and that they can repeat a good year. And, you know, of course, Coach Pittman and their quarterback, KJ Jefferson, wants to repeat a strong season and compete in the SEC West. It's in Fayetteville. It's going to be a packed house. So that's the game for me to watch.
Fayetteville's certainly a really tough place to play, and we'll see how KJ Jefferson fares out in another season. Seems like his 400th season for the Razorbacks, and the Sam Pittman era continues. I love that answer. That was the one I was looking for. So, Harrison, you're going to get the point here to start us off in the second round. Moving on to professional football now. The NFL released their annual Top 100 list, ranking the top 100 players regardless of position across the league. Tom Brady captured the #1 spot for the 4th time since the list's inception in 2011, with Aaron Donald, Aaron Rodgers, Cooper Kupp, and Jonathan Taylor rounding out the top 5 in that order. Panelists, out of all the guys on that list, who do you think was placed a little higher than you would expect, and who you think should have gotten their ranking bumped a bit higher? Ryan, we'll start here with you.
Yeah, absolutely, Tommy. I've looked at this list actually several times. I've scrolled through it, and to me, the one that stood out that was way too high is Patriots quarterback Mac Jones. Even being on this list, he's number 85. He's ahead of Kirk Cousins. To me, that is just absolutely ridiculous to have him. His rookie season was fine. There was nothing wrong with it per se. Just he should not be up there, especially not in front of Kirk Cousins and other quarterbacks like that. The numbers just were not there. They got blown out in the playoffs by 40-plus points, whatever it was. For me, that's who I think was too high. And too low, personally, I think was Alvin Kamara, Saints running back. The Saints had a down year. Jameis Winston got hurt. They had a whole bunch of other injuries on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. He's still a top 5 running back, especially when he's coming out of the backfield and being able to catch the ball like he's able to. Runs with such ease, such poise. I mean, for him to be at 50, which is actually the lowest he's been ranked on that list before. He's always been like 30s or 20s or something like that. I think Kamara's bound to have another great season, and I think he's being disrespected just based off last season.
All right, 2 solid answers to start us out. Harrison, what about you?
So for my answers, I actually have 2 Cowboys. Number 1, I'm going to go with too high. First of all, Trayvon Diggs. He was 22 in the top 100. Trayvon, I personally like him, but I've been hearing reports that he has been burned by practice squad guys in OTAs. Also, the Cowboys and Chargers just had a joint practice. Keenan Allen burned him multiple times. If you looked at the wild card game against the Niners, Trayvon was getting burned. Listen, I love Dan Quinn, but he plays his own defense, just like Richard Sherman. I do not trust either of them to be on an island to lock a top wide receiver in the league, lock him down. I just don't trust him. Trayvon's way too aggressive, way too risky. Who's too low? Number 95 coming in, CD Lamb. CD had 79 catches, 1,100 yards, is one of the best receivers after the catch, and that's with Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz, and Michael Gallup last year. Look for him to have an amazing season this year. I think 95 is way too low for a Pro Bowl wide receiver.
All right, so 2 Cowgirls make it on the list for Harrison. And last but definitely not least, Manny, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go with too high, and that is Mac Jones. I had Mac Jones as well. I don't know why he's on this list. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad season at all. I do think that he will be something special up there in Foxborough, but it's just not the time for him. I mean, you have players like Tyron Smith and Odell and CeeDee behind him. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And then for somebody who is too low, I got to go with a Cowboy, and I think that is Dak Prescott. Dakota Prescott, he was sitting at 44. He's at easily one of the top 25 players in the league. He should have been up there, and I truly, fully believe that. Justin Herbert was sitting in front of him, and I don't get that because Dallas went in to SoFi and beat the Chargers in a close game, yes, but Dak completely balled out in that game. I think Dak should have been at least ahead of him. 44 is too low for a player like Dak Prescott.
We've got a Justin Herbert superfan in the studio. Edley, what do you think about that? Edley Tamilian running teleprompter.
Justin Herbert's more talented than Dak Prescott.
All right, Justin Herbert is more talented than Dak Prescott, says Miss Teleprompter Edley Tamilian. A lot of good answers there. Manny, I'm going to go with you here on this one just because I like your explanation of Mac Jones a little bit better. No offense, Ryan. Both of you guys hit it on the nail there. So a lot of Mac Jones slander here to start off the College Crossfire season. Last question here of this second set of 3. This year's American League MVP race is as close as it can be between 2 of baseball's most unique players ever. Starting with maybe the best two-way player ever, is that a bad thing to say? In Shohei Ohtani, who's dominating on the mound with a 2.67 ERA, that's good for 6th best in the AL, while also hitting .267 at the plate to go along with 29 home runs. Then there's Aaron Judge, just one of the most physically gifted baseball players ever, who seemingly hits every pitch to the next universe. He's leading the league in home runs with 50 and RBIs with 110, and is on track to finish with 61 home runs and 135 RBIs. For reference, 61 home runs would be tied for the 7th most in a single season in MLB history. Guys, with the 2 going head-to-head this week, who do you think has the edge at this point in the season? Harrison, we'll start with you.
Okay, Tommy, simple answer to me. An MVP needs to be on a winning team. Aaron Judge and the Yankees, they're number 1 in the AL East by at least 7 games. The Angels and Shohei Ohtani are 4th in the AL West. And that's playing with teams like the Oakland A's and the Texas Rangers, and the Rangers have not been relevant since Josh Hamilton. That's just my point, case and closed. You have to be on a winning team. Aaron Judge elevates his teammates, and the Yankees are looking to make a World Series run.
Short, but you're not wrong. Good point. Manny, how about you?
You know, like you said, Shohei Ohtani was probably the greatest two-way player that we've ever seen. But I got to give it to Aaron Judge. I mean, 2nd best team in the American League right now, sitting behind the Astros. And I feel like the people who decide who's going to be MVP, yes, individual output is important, but you got to win games. You have to be there, towards the end of the season. You're gonna win. You're ready to make that push to win a championship. And I think that in the distinction of the 2, I got to give it to Aaron Judge just for that factor.
Angels certainly have had struggles trying to find wins even with 2 really talented players like Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout on the roster. Ryan, let's close it out.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off what Manny said. I'm willing to call Shohei Ohtani already the best two-way player that ever played in the MLB. That's very evident. What he did last season, what he's done this season already on a very bad Angels team where everybody was expecting him to maybe make a playoff run, at least make the playoffs, who knows, but they have been abysmal. Aaron Judge, I agree with these 2, by far is the MVP candidate. He hit his 51st home run actually the other night. He's just launching these balls. People are starting to just not even throw to him. And ever since the All-Star break, the Yankees have been bad. And I don't mean just like, oh yeah, they're just kind of puddling around on that. No, they've been bad. They've been on quite a few losing streaks, losing a lot more games than they've been winning. And Judge is the sole reason that they've even stayed super competitive. They're in the second in the AL behind the Astros, I believe. And Judge is the main reason for that, over 1,000 OPS. So I got to give it to Judge. His numbers are great, and he's helping his team win in a very rough time.
Certainly seems like the Yankees after the All-Star break typically tend to sort of go down the slope a little bit, but Aaron Judge is trying to hold on for dear life out there. Harrison, I really liked your answer, so you're going to get the point here as we head into our second break. 2 rounds in the books. Harrison jumps out in front with 3 points. Right behind him, it's Ryan with 2, and still in the race, Manny with 1 in last place. Still anyone's game. Everyone's favorite segment. It's Rapid Fire coming up next.
Friday Night Lights, boys.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. The first edition of Rapid Fire is here. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, Rapid Fire is our third and final segment of the night where our contestants will have to answer 3 questions just like they have earlier, but this time they have no idea what I'll be asking. Everything is straight off the dome. They say defense wins championships, but that's not true. Rapid Fire wins championships. Quick update as we get into this. Harrison in the lead with 3 points, Ryan behind him with 2, and Manny has 1. Let's get started out with who tonight's champion will be. Question number 1. In tragic news this past week, Baltimore Ravens mascot and executive producer Jordan Galehood's alter ego, Poe, was carted off the field Saturday night after sustaining some, quote, damage to his drumstick, also known as the knee. We'll try to spin Poe's injury into something more creative now for you all. If you were a mascot, I'm going to add something onto this now. What would you be? What would your animal or person be? And what would be your halftime performance you'd put on with the fan? Anybody can start us off.
Wow.
Oh, our contestants are befuddled to start us out. This one
Let's see.
taking some time. I don't think we'll be seeing a Mac Jones mascot after everything we just talked about.
I'm going to go something creative here. I'm going to go, you know those games that you throw the football in and there's the like 3 holes, like the really big hole, the small.
Yeah, I know. The quarterback
I'm gonna do a
accuracy.
custom like that, and with a lot of cushioning, obviously. And then I'm going to give some fans some footballs, and then they're going to try to throw them into those holes.
Oh, so we're going to see who the next good quarterback from the stands is.
Yeah,
to try
so I'll
and
just like stand maybe on like the 10, and then they
little
just try to,
fan
try to throw it in
accuracy
there, and then
challenge.
Maybe you win a T-shirt or something if you win.
Okay, you know
I
what?
think that's pretty good.
That's creative. That's a great way to start.
I'm
fellas?
gonna go the same thing, but I'm throwing the footballs now. I'm the one, because it's my halftime show. You know what I mean? It's my halftime show, and everybody's here to watch me as the mascot. So I think the mascot is not as important, but you know what? I will go like with a traditional cowboy. You know, big old mustache,
what I was gonna say.
big hat, whatever. And I'm just like slinging footballs, and like, but
From
I'm
your waist?
No, like, just hold on. And so like, I just kind of pull one out, and I just roll out, but I'm on like one of those like medical carts too. So I'm launching them. And
There's a lot to
launching.
unpack here. We have to go back and ask. So you're a cowboy
Yep.
driving a medical cart,
Yep.
gunslinging footballs,
Yep.
and you're throwing them at fans who are.
No. There's like trash can buckets that are like lined up on like different parts of the field, and I'm launching them.
Okay, so you're just throwing it to these buckets.
Yeah.
What if you miss? Because that kind of ruins the entertainment portion of it.
That's why I have multiple
Or are you not
footballs.
going to miss?
No, I have multiple footballs.
You have
so
multiple
if I miss,
footballs.
then I just throw
Okay,
another.
very creative. That definitely made me engage my brain a little bit. Harrison?
Okay, let's go with, I'm going to be a bull, and just like in Spain, I'm going to have, like, my halftime show is going to be the student section comes on the field, and one person, they have the red flags and waving, and it's going to be dangerous, but it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be a bull.
So you're just going to take out the students?
Well, it's just to get
run over
school
students.
spirit, all right? That's all.
So a bull running over students is peak school spirit to you.
No, but I'm not going to be running over them. I mean, the students have to be athletic. They got to
Students have to be athletic.
Way to maneuver.
Wow, so 3 very creative is the word that I'll use here. Halftime performances. This is a tough one for me to decide. Ryan, I think I'm going to go with yours here. I never would have thought of something like that. I can't say I would have thought of anything like y'all's either, but I digress. There's been a lot of movement across the college football world this offseason between players and coaches alike, but the most notable group of shifts are coming at the quarterback positions, such as names like Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler, and Quinn Ewers, all moving around to new programs for various reasons. Panelists, let's imagine you're a collegiate quarterback with every offer in the country right now in front of you. If you had to choose right this second, 247 is here streaming this commitment. You've got the hats in front of you. You have to make your decision. Excluding Texas,
Yeah, I like that.
what school would you take your talents to and why? Anybody can start.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with USC. I'm a QB, Lincoln Riley. That's QBU. I'm gonna be an automatic Heisman contender, and probably gonna be a first-round draft pick, first overall, like Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield.
All right, so Caleb Williams, watch out. Harrison Chiu's coming your way.
Come on, baby.
Manny, you going? You ready to go?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go Georgia. Chance to play for a national championship. Good squad around you. They've been building for years, and I think they're going to continue to build. And just like Harrison was saying here, I think I'm going to be able to just kind of hone my skill set and be able to just become that all-around quarterback that leads a team to a national championship. Also think about it when it comes to things like NIL deals and stuff like that. People like winners, and when you're on a team that wins, you get a nice paycheck. So I think that that also will play into the factor of where I choose, and I think Georgia, outside of Texas, would probably be the best shot for me to go.
All right, Kirby Smart, you've got a quarterback finally coming your way. Ryan, close us out.
I like both those answers, but I'm going to keep this short and sweet. You're not going to like my answer, but I'm going to say A&M, actually. And here's my reason. I mean, their recruiting, both defensively, especially defensively, has been outstanding. One of the best, honestly, I've actually ever seen.
Boo this man!
It's true.
Boo this man!
It's true. It's true. Okay? It's very true. The recruiting's been unreal. They haven't had a good quarterback since Johnny Manziel. It's been a long time. This team, with the right quarterback, could definitely go all the way. Would I like to see that? I don't think anybody would really like to see that. But that is the system you go to. Jimbo Fisher, beating Alabama last year. They got all the right moves going, all the recruits. That's where I would go.
You know what, Ryan? Here's why I don't like your answer. Connor Wigman, 5-star quarterback, true freshman at Texas A&M. My high school classmate at Bridgeland High School. Class of 2022, I was class of 21. Connor, my dog. Love you, brother. Hope you're watching. So absolutely not. That is Connor's job. He's going to lead Texas A&M to a national championship one day, I hope. Manny, I'm rocking with you as QB1 out in Athens.
Baby.
Kirby Smart, Manny Ramirez has taken you to back-to-back national championships. So, Manny, you're going to get the point here. That makes things a lot more interesting heading into our last question. All right, here we go. This question can sort of bounce off the last one, and it's got a lot to do with, as we mentioned before, name, image, and likeness. We have to preface this with where our idea came from with this question. Arguably the greatest NIL deal since Alabama's Kool-Aid McKinstry teamed up with the actual Kool-Aid company. It's Nebraska freshman wide receiver DeColdest Crawford becoming a spokesperson for SOS Heating and Cooling, an Omaha area air conditioning, heating, and ventilation service company. That is just perfect. There's no other way to put it. That is just perfect. Kool-Aid and DeColdest have two deals that are hard to beat, but that doesn't mean you all don't get a deal at your new schools now. So with that in mind, if you could choose to partner with any brand, who would it be, and how would you go about advertising it?
Jeez.
It's a good one, Tommy.
That's a very good one, Tommy.
Okay, any brand.
You know what? I'll take it. I'll start out. So in this scenario, I am at the University of Texas at Austin, and I think that I go with, you think Texas, and what's something else that you think, and it's food. And there's this one burger chain that we have here in Texas that signifies that we are Texas. So I pair up with Whataburger, and I go with Whataburger, and like I'll even wrap my car that I get in like the Whataburger orange with like some like white like accents
Decals,
going
yeah.
over, and you know what? I'll do it to the point where I'll get a W tattooed on my arm.
Wow.
You know what I mean? W, because I win, and we love Whataburger, and that's why I go with Whataburger. Great food, great spot. And every time that we win a game, the official Whataburger Twitters were able to put out, go get a W after this W at Whataburger. Get a free like Whataburger when you buy a meal. Boom.
We're going to have to go back after this and clip that where he says, W, because I win. And I'm going to post that on Twitter every time I get a good grade on a test here in my last 2 years at Texas. Ryan, Harrison, you guys are all tied up right now for first place. Manny, if he gets the point here, ties it. So you got to, that's a tough act to beat.
Yeah, that is. That was tough. Let's see.
I'll go ahead and take this over. This is going to be a little different answer. I mean, that's a phenomenal answer. I'm actually going to go with, I would say I'm a quarterback. I'm going to go with an airline company. And whether it be Southwest, United, any of those companies, that's great. I got a great poster idea. It's like, come fly with me. You know, letting the ball fly, come fly with me. That would go over really well. And then I think if you really get on the right terms with them and you got a lot of great things going on, I think you could have a plane kind of fly over and drop maybe some goodie bags or something during the game, and that would get people really loving you even more. You're up by 40, whatever. You're beating Alabama, and you just got, you know, bags of money or whatever, some food inside of them just dropping down. I mean, just to look up mid-game, and you're like, yeah, that's me, guys.
Bags of money?
Yeah, you know, you got your face on the bag, and everybody's like having a good time and stuff like that. And then think about the traveling benefits. Oh my gosh, you can fly anywhere for free. You can get your teammates to fly anywhere for free. I mean, you're gonna be traveling a lot after winning a natty, like. Go wherever you want to go. So free flights, I mean, yeah, that's what I would do.
You know, we just saw USC wide receiver Jordan Addison team up with Southwest for his NIL deal. So, Jordan, Biletnikoff winner last year. You've got future Heisman quarterback and national champion Ryan Swantkowski coming your way. Harrison?
All right, let's go with something pretty simple. Let's go with a shoe company. You know, in NBA 2K, in my career, when you have like those, when you like progress in your rookie season and for some reason you are offered all these deals, I'm gonna go with Jordan brand. There's, they're expanding. There's players from every sport. Also, my guy Harold Varner III, golfer. Let's just go simple. Yeah, I'm gonna be part of the Jordan family. Get connections with Jeter, MJ, Des Bryant, of course, my favorite player of all time. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right, Harrison looking long-term, teaming up with the second greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan, behind Cleveland's own LeBron James. We'll talk about that on another show. It's only our first show of the season, and we've already set the bar incredibly high with rapid-fire questions. Executive producer Jordan and I are going to have a tough time topping tonight's trifecta, but no doubt about it, we'll find a way. All that being said, it's time to announce the winner of the first College Crossfire show of the 2022 season. In first place, with 4 points, Ryan Swantkowski goes home a winner in game number 1. Absolutely incredible. Cece, do we have time for FaceTime?
Do we have time?
Yes, we do. Ryan, FaceTime. What do you have to say?
Just honored to be here. I really, that airline one really came from the heart. It really manifested. It felt very natural. Very glad to get the win. 2 phenomenal competitors here. I hope to see them again very soon. Maybe even next week. We'll see. But feels great. First win. First time being here on the show. So it feels great.
I'm a big fan of bags of money, and especially when they're falling from the sky. It's easy to win me over with that answer right there. Great job, Ryan, and thanks to Harrison and Manny for coming on tonight. This was a lot of fun, guys. Please make sure to come back at some point again this year. Thank you guys all at home for watching and joining us tonight. To our incredible studio audience who booed me in the second part of our show, thank you so much. What a great way to start off the season for College Crossfire. That's going to do it for us here in the TSTV studios. Before you go, be sure to come back Friday mornings for the 1-0 Sports Show and Monday nights for College Press Box. Thank you for, again, the studio audience for being out here tonight. As usual, everyone back in the master control room, our executive producer, Jordan Galehood, and all the other great folks here at TSTV. Signing off from Austin, my name is Tommy Yarrish. Good night, and we'll see you next time.